Time for the final room, and one last new enemy type, Zebatite. Zebatites can only be damaged by the missiles, and they're basically there to soak up as many of them as they possibly can. Unless you hit them with basically a steady stream of missiles, they will start to heal themselves. All the security cannons here, those don't exactly help either. But as always, the most in the way things are these bleeding Rinkas. Okay, in case of final boss, break glass. From here, basically, you just want to dodge Rinkas and pump Mother Brain full of missiles. In Zero Mission, they made Mother Brain a bit more threatening. Once she gets low enough on health, she can start throwing fireballs at you, at least in that one. But not this time. If you're so inclined, you can actually use the Ice Beam to freeze Rinkas so they'll stop generating quite so much. And you want to be really careful, because bumping into Mother Brain, it does quite a good bit of damage. Between Samus's rather unfortunate knockback and the sheer spamming of Rinkas, it gets rather tricky to stay out of the way of them and not get punted into the lava. There we go. That's a result. Time bomb set. Get out fast. And so we have a bit of a timer, and we need to get out before that goes down all the way. So it's time for How Good Are You at Tiny Tiny Jumps? Fortunately, they really give you way more time than you should need to get out. Though I remember the first time doing this with my family, there was a lot of panic set in there. But if you just stay calm, it's easy enough to get out. Great, you fulfilled your mission. It will revive peace in space, but it may be invaded by the other Metroid. Pray for a true peace in space. I just love that. Wonderful English. What? Samus is a girl? When did that happen? This was actually quite a surprise for a lot of players. In fact, it's a little bit more Nintendo trolling in a way, because the instruction booklet is intentionally misleading. There are a lot of references in the instruction booklet for the original Metroid where it refers to Samus as male. So that ending is pretty surprising. One also has to consider that up to this point, most of Nintendo's protagonists were male. Mario, Link, Pit. Even some of the minor ones that don't have the notoriety today that they did then, the professors from Gyromite, for example. So suddenly you have Samus. You play with Samus, you go through this game, and you have this mental image of how powerful Samus is and everything. And so, boom, they strike you at the end with that Samus is actually a powerful woman. And that was kind of a major statement at the time. And pretty cool. It's nice to have a strong female protagonist instead of someone like Peach that is usually just kidnap bait. And then when she does get a starring role and gets to be the heroine, her power is emotion. Granted, I've never played Super Princess Peach, so I don't know how much the gameplay is into that one. I've never really tried that one. And so, the end. Though a few extra things we can cover here, too. After the end, if you press start, you'll begin again back in Brinstar. However, this time, Samus is in the suit that she was in at the end of the game. However, you'll notice she does not have any energy tanks, nor any missiles. However, she does have the Marumari, bombs, the long beam, the ice beam since you had to end the game with it, the high jump, and the screw attack. So any major items she has, and I'm guessing the Varia suit too, they're all there already. Any major items that you got through the game, she'll have them. So you can play through the game again with this extra power, and the only items that you'll have to find again are the energy tanks and the missile expansions. But really, that's about it. So, something extra to talk about here is the password system. On the main screen, go to Continue, and you can put in a password. This saves your place whatever items you had at the time, things like that. It generally puts you back at wherever the elevator was that you used to get into an area. However, there are some special passwords, two of which I at least know of. First up is the rather famous Justin Bailey code. This code is comprised of the words Justin Bailey, all in caps, and then for the second line, just fill it with dashes. This gives you Samus in her outro outfit, her swimsuit. Gives you 5 energy tanks, though empty it looks like, all the missiles, starts you in Norfair, gives you the wave beam, most of the power-ups it looks like. I'm not quite sure what the status is of the bosses, though. I suppose we could go find out real quick, actually. Because I'm actually kind of curious. And Chipmunk starts now. That's kind of weird. I got a missile power-up and my missiles went down to 205? That's strange. And the statues are already up, so Justin Bailey starts you ready to go after Mother Brain. Though you might want to go trade in the wave beam for the ice beam. Just saying. Another fairly well-known and useful code is Narpaz Sword. So let's see here. Narpaz Sword. And then everything gets filled in with zeros, I believe. Supposedly what this one does is give you infinite missiles and makes you invincible. Well, I don't know about the invincibility part of it, but I definitely have infinite missiles. Yeah, my life is going back up. It also gives you pretty much all the major power-ups. And the Ice Beam, but with the Wave Beam graphics? That's interesting. Oh well. I am bulletproof! So, yeah, for those just trying to get through the game quickly and not worry about taking damage and not wanting to die, this is the code for you. I've never actually tried this code, so that's rather interesting. You learn something new every day. Cry some more. Does getting energy actually cancel out the effects, though? That's something potentially worth testing. Let's make sure of that. No, it doesn't. Nice. Now, of course, anytime you have a password system this open-ended, you're gonna have jokesters and immature types out there that want to see what kind of vulgarity and nasty things like that they can put in there, and that's kind of where this code comes in. I've never quite been sure what this one is supposed to do. Perhaps it's supposed to be this game's version of Kid Icarus's Icarus Fights Medusa Angels, though not nearly as polite. Engage, Ridley, Mother... However, anytime I've tried using this password just to see what it does, from experience, all it does is give you a black screen and freezes the game. As well it should. Remember, kids, cursing gets you nowhere. One final thing I can talk about here is the wall climbing glitch. It's kind of tricky to pull off and a bit risky at times, but it can help you get to certain areas faster. Basically, what you want to do is open a door, then stand in its path. Then, start hitting down and up rapidly. As you can see, it can be easy to get yourself stuck like that. You have to have really good timing in order to pull this off. And even then, sometimes, the game wants to cause problems, because really it doesn't want you doing this. Basically, if you go in full ball form, then you're kind of stuck. Like, you have to tap up right after hitting down. And even then, it's still tricky to get the timing right. But see, I have it going here, and the camera's not following me up. And in fact, it's going down. And I appear to be stuck. So yeah, those are the risks of trying to do the wall climbing glitch. But if you have really good timing, there are beneficial places where you can use it. For instance, possibly trying to get the Varia suit early. But beyond that, it's kind of a high-risk, high-reward thing if you know where to use it, and if you have really, really good timing. But yeah, that's about it. In a bit of a case of had I known then what I know now, I actually could have gotten the Varia suit a lot earlier and made things a lot easier on me, plus cut down on a bit of backtracking. Though it is still a tricky thing to actually pull off. For one thing, it requires MidAir Bombing, which we know in the first game is a bit of a tricky prospect at best. However, it is quite possible to do. Now, doing it minute rice perfect every time, that's another matter. This actually took me a few tries to pull off. Essentially what it is kind of a different form of bomb jumping. By standing up after setting a bomb, you can kind of double jump off the explosions. Like I said, it is actually pretty tricky to pull off, so it takes some practice. To be honest, I'm not quite sure how much it would have cut down on the time doing it. Like I said, it took me a lot of tries to get this recorded just right for this little demonstration. But it is quite possible. Had I managed this in the actual run, it probably would have cut down on a lot of that bloody beeping over in Norfair, but hindsight 2020 and all that rot. At least I was able to demonstrate it. And thus we've reached the end of this little trip down memory lane. Obviously, the original Metroid is not without its flaws, but for as early as it came out, it was a very solid, fun game. I've been asked for my opinion regarding this one versus the remake Zero Mission, and in all honesty, I prefer the original. Yes, nostalgia has a lot to do with it, I'll admit. This, after all, is a game that I grew up with. Heck, some of my earliest memories of drawing, in fact, involve drawing characters from Metroid out of the instruction manual. So, yes, the original Metroid, it may be glitchy and flawed here and there, and it may be a rather short game if you know where you're going, but I greatly enjoyed revisiting this old friend. Granted, it's not a game for everyone. I've seen a lot of comments regarding people who actually love the Metroid series, but don't really like the original. I think even Kit falls into that group. Still, I'd recommend at least giving it a try, even if you don't care to play the entire game. It's fun to see where the series started. So with that said, this run is officially over, and thus, after a short break, I'll be getting to work on the next project. Due to the nature of this one, I'm not quite sure when it'll start exactly, or how long it will take between videos. That's because it's time for a quick set of perfect runs. Yes, it's on to Nezumi Man next time. So until then, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed my Let's Play of Metroid, and I shall see you again for the next project. Until then, fare thee well.